Before we start, this vid is from my friend's channel. Let me know your favorite part. I left the links to their channels in a pinned comment below, so go sub and you could be their first sub before they hit 1 million. With all that said and done, let's begin, shall we?
Since the beginning of recorded history, legends have been born surrounding the elegant, beautiful, and rare mermaids. Cultures across the world have their own versions of this magical being, and sailors throughout history have told and recorded the sightings of mermaids and even mermen in their personal journals. Even the likes of Columbus have written about mermaid sightings. The first ever documented mermaid was recorded in the 11th century, so we can guess how old the myth really is. Or is it really a myth? Let's look at the 15 very real-life mermaid sightings from history. Number 15. Mermaid from Kiryat Yam. In 2009, news of a mermaid fever made waves throughout the Israeli city of Kiryat Yam. Town residents claimed to have seen a creature that was a part girl and part fish. The mermaid appeared at dusk, often performing tricks for residents and tourists. The first person to have seen the mermaid said that she was taking a sunbath. When he and his friends approached her, she quickly disappeared into the waves. Everyone was shocked to find that the woman had no legs, only a tail. This observation is not an isolated incident. After the news about the mermaid spread, hundreds of people came there, claiming to have seen the mermaid Kiryat Yam.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it, it really works.
Number 14. Blackbeard. Edward Teach is the legendary black-bearded pirate who served as a private soldier during the Queen Anne War. Some researchers claim that Edward Teach deliberately destroyed his own ship to separate the crew, which had become a liability for him. The Blackbeard was quickly caught and killed, and the severed head was installed in front of a boat to warn others. However, before reaching the sad ending, Blackbeard encountered a more otherworldly creature. It is recorded in his diary that he ordered his team to leave certain enchanted waters because they were home to some creatures of the sea, mainly mermaids. He was said to have seen them with his own eyes and was afraid of annoying them. Number 13. Hakata Bay Mermaid. Japan has a long relationship with mermaids, although the mermaids in Japan legend are more like fish. They usually have sharp teeth and occasionally horns. And although usually not specified, they are also said to have magical powers. You can see the remains of the Japanese mermaid in Fukuoka at the Ryuguji Temple. In 1222, the mermaid washed ashore on the coast of Hakata Bay. The local wizard said that the mermaid was a good omen, and her body was buried in the Ryuguji Temple, which means underwater palace of Dragon God. It is quite fitting. Number 12. Dearness Mermaid. Throughout history, Scotland seems to have a considerable part when it comes to the sighting of mermaids. In 1890, Newark Bay became the location of several mermaid witnesses. Many people think that talking about mermaids is just hearsay and rumors. However, many other people started sharing their stories about the so-called mermaid deer. This mermaid is as beautiful, though. People described her as a 7-meter-long humanoid with pale skin and black hair. The locals described her crawling on the rocks with her arms and then sliding back into the waves. People have only seen her from a distance. The Dearness Mermaid was obviously quite cautious and stayed far from the beach. Number 11. Active Pass Mermaid. When the mermaid was seen on the shore of Main Island in 1967, British Columbia became the center of enthusiasm for mermaids. The ferry driver one night saw a blonde woman sitting on the beach, naked, with long blonde hair and a dolphin tail. Some witnesses were very frustrated because they thought they saw the mermaid eating raw salmon on the beach that day. After being observed by the ferry passengers, tourism increased on that site. Could this be a trick to attract tourists? Number 10. Mermaid of Zimbabwe. In 2012, construction teams in Zimbabwe were scared away by a so-called mermaid at the Gokwe and Osborne dams. The mermaid is called Mamba by the locals, who harassed the workers when they tried to complete the dam construction. Local workers who grew up in the area of folklore and mythology believed that the appearance of the mermaid was a bad omen and refused to complete the work of building the dam. In order to continue the construction of the dam, the local council hired white workers to complete the work. This was an attempt to hire people other than the workers who believed in the legend and popularity of Mamba Muntu sightings. However, due to the anger and harassment of the Zimbabwe River mermaid, these workers also fled the construction site and vowed not to return. Number 9. Hebridean Mermaid. There are countless mysteries and legends in Scotland, including the mermaid. However, in 1830, it became apparent that someone saw the mermaid, and later that mermaid was killed by the people of Benbecula. One day, while a woman was cutting seaweed on the shore, she claimed to have seen a miniature woman swimming in the water. Her discovery surprised her. She called many people to see the mermaid on the water. When the men started running towards her in the water, she quickly swam to a distant place. Some boys in the group threw stones at the frightened mermaid, one of them actually hitting her back. A few days later, the body of the mermaid was washed ashore. Number 8. New Zealand Mermaid. In 2014, a group of fishermen claimed to have found the remains of a mermaid on the South Island. They feared that they had found a body that could be a victim of murder. However, after careful inspection by the local authorities, it became clear that the bones were not entirely human. The corpse was similar to human beings and also had the characteristics of aquatic life. The discovery was made known to everyone in New Zealand after learning about the aquatic humanoids found in the South Island. Since the authorities did not know what to do, the University of Auckland was asked to explain the fishermen's discovery. Can mermaids be added to the list of wildlife in New Zealand now? Number 7. Bering Sea Mermaids. Henry Hudson explored the cold waters of northern Norway in 1608. He wrote in his diary about the day when he met a group of mermaids. Hudson said that a mermaid met his crew and started calling several of her mermaid sisters. He described them as tall as men in his team, with very white skin and long dark hair. Making his way down their bodies, Hudson found the tail, which he described as a dolphin, but with the spotting of a mackerel fish. Hudson seemed amazed by the discovery of the mermaid. Number 6. Captain Richard Whitbourne. Richard Whitbourne was an explorer, writer, and colonist in the 16th and 17th centuries. He was an experienced person, not someone who was influenced by fairy tales and fantasies. But in 1610, off the coast of Newfoundland, he described his encounter with the mermaid who was swimming happily towards the boat he and his crew were sailing on in the sea. He said that the mermaid swam quickly, sometimes jumping into the water, and then rose from above enough to let him look at her bare shoulders and back. He claimed that he did not look at her face, though. Number 5. Ka'aiman. In 2008, waves were being made in South Africa, where a legendary mermaid named Ka'aiman appeared in the news. A group of friends heard scratches and loud noises coming from the river. After further investigation, the team found a woman in the water. The woman looked pale and had long black hair. Her skin was milky white, making it almost shiny. When the woman spoke to this group of people, the most shocking feature they saw was her red eyes. A journalist ran to investigate the allegations that Ka'aiman was found. She noticed that the mermaid was crying, just like a real human does. After confusion with this group of people, the mermaid disappeared into the muddy water. Number 4. Orang Ikan. In 1943, the Second World War was still at its peak. However, the war did not stop the emergence of one of the most documented observations of the mermaid. The Japanese army set up a surveillance team on Indonesia's Kei Islands. While they were there, several members of the surveillance team reported seeing a small humanoid figure in the water, with thorns on the neck and head, and a carp-shaped mouth. People often saw the mermaid figure playing near the lagoon and the beaches of the Kei Islands. The Japanese soldiers were impressed with what they saw, but after talking to the locals, they discovered that the mysterious mermaid-like creature was actually a famous entity called the orang, or human fish. Number 3. Prince Shotoku. Prince Shotoku is one of the most important figures in Japanese history, a strong and sober man. It is said that a merman appeared at Lake Biwa, close to where Prince Shotoku resided. The merman was dying. Like any dying person, the merman found time to tell his story to a stranger. He said that he used to be a fisherman sailing in the forbidden waters. As punishment, he was turned into an ugly fish creature. The merman clearly felt that this was a fair punishment, because he asked the prince to build a temple after death to show his body to warn other fishermen not to enter those waters. This temple, called Tenshou Kaiosha Shrine, can be found near Fiji Mountain, where the remains of the merman mummies are guarded by Shinto monks. And with that, it's now time for today's subscriber pick. Today's photo was sent to us by a subscriber. If you come across a photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it on a future video. Number 2. This picture seems like it was photoshopped. Even though it looks very fake, we get the idea behind it though. There have been many stories of mermaids washing ashore, as already told in this video. Number 1. Columbus and Caribbean mermaids. Christopher Columbus is famous for many things, including meeting mermaids while traveling near Hispaniola. Columbus wrote in the ship's log that he and his crew met 3 mermaids in the water around Hispaniola. Columbus documented that the mermaids were swimming in the water, and as the boat approached, the 3 mermaids rose out of the water. What disappointed Columbus was that the mermaids were not as beautiful as described in the ancient stories. Columbus believed that the mermaids were very undesirable and manlike. That is our list of 15 real sightings of mermaids from history. Which one do you think is the most convincing? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.